Well, hello, puppers. The Owl House has just ended, and this is a show that I did not expect to like as much as I have.
I did. I definitely did 100%.
I am at
from
this
the first
point in my
episode.
life
I was like, I love this.
where I see the Disney logo and I go,
I see the
like,
Disney logo
I'm very
and then it's
skeptical and like, I guess.
if Disney wants the show to end after a certain amount of seasons, I'm like, this is going to be some good shit. Because Disney tends to drag on things that shouldn't be dragged on. Star Wars.
And cut short things that are
awesome.
Awesome, yeah.
So, they did it with Amphibia. They did it with a couple other shows that you don't like that I'll just keep to myself. Star vs. the Force. Evil.
That one, okay.
They cut that one pretty short.
So I'm like, hold on, I don't know much about Amphibia. So
yeah.
it's like, but there is a relation between this show and Amphibia. Are you aware of that? Because I hear the two compared a lot. Like, I think they have different creators. Or
I think they have different creators, but there's a friendship behind the scenes. And they're made, like, around the same time, similar animation styles.
And also, I believe, like, Dana Terrace worked on Gravity Falls?
Yes.
Okay.
There's a lot of Gravity Falls references in both.
Oh, okay. All right.
Which I thought was a lot of fun. I love this show. I think this easily is in my top 5 favorite cartoons.
Oh, wow. Just period?
Yeah, just period.
Okay.
And that's because it doesn't shy away from dark humor.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't shy away from kind of like gross humor.
Okay.
So like, I mean, I'm sorry, I don't care what anyone says.
It also doesn't shy away from dark undertones.
Yeah, it doesn't shy away from just like the darkness of humanity and things like that. Like a lot of cartoons do. They're like, oh, we can't get too dark for kids.
Mm-hmm.
But it also has a lot of really funny, lighthearted lesson learning things.
Yeah. And it has very complex characters.
Yes, which I adore. Okay, that's a lie. There's one character throughout the whole series that I just didn't really care for, and that was the pointy nose girl.
Yeah, the pointy nose is a thing. I'm not fond of that thing either.
They actually made a joke about it in the show. They were like, oh, she has a name? Like, and we're like, oh, shit. Like, you know, we felt the same way. We're like, oh, yeah, that's right. But with the last episode, I'm sad to see that it's over.
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of like sad to see how it ended, but also fine.
Do you think they stuck the landing?
I think that they landed well, but had a little wobble.
Okay. All right.
So I would give it like an 8 out of 10 for landing.
Okay.
For like sticking the end.
Mm-hmm.
And that's mainly
especially considering the dirty hand they were dealt with.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that there was just a lot they had to wrap up very quickly, so they had to kind of like montage through some of the wrap up.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not upset with how it ended. So this video is going to have some spoilers. So if you haven't watched the last episode yet, put the video here in your to be watched list. Go watch the video. It's on Disney Plus, Disney XD, and probably streaming somewhere on YouTube. Illegally, don't watch that.
Or pirate it, because Disney doesn't really need this money.
Facts. The only reason I want Disney to get money for this one is so that they keep making cartoons like this. But
they're not.
Who knows?
They'll just continue to abuse creators like this. But tangent aside,
that's a different video.
Let's talk about the show.
But the last episode kind of starts out where Luz is having a nightmare. And it's her friends are blaming everything on her. Mm-hmm. This is all your fault. And she, she's like, it's not, I didn't mean to. Like, I know I did this, but I didn't mean to. And, they're like, we have to end you, basically. And so she's having this nightmare. And we bounce between Luz, King, and Ida. Mm-hmm. And all 3 of them are just having horrific nightmares about things that they regret. Mm-hmm. So Ida attacking her family from the owl beast.
Yep.
King losing his entire species.
Yep.
And Luz losing
having her friends
all of her friends.
Yep.
Yeah. And then there's a moment where they learn how to kind of break out of that cycle. So they start to wake everyone up. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of the start. So the start of this episode was very much like, is this real? Is this not real? Mm-hmm. And then moving forward from that, seeing the danger that they're actually in.
Yeah.
So Rain is trying to battle Bellows for control of his body.
Yep.
and he's not doing well.
No.
He's trying, but he doesn't quite get there. And I really love that they also included that it was like, you thought for a second that he was going to beat the bad guy, and he didn't.
Right.
And the bad guy had no, like, fear of being like, you tried. You lost, but you tried. Which I think is underrated.
I'm writing a video essay about, like, how much this show gets right and, like, how strong its characters are. And Bellows is one of, like, its biggest strengths. Bellows is a fantastic villain. Yeah. Harkening back to, like, an era of villains that I've missed for a long time.
He doesn't have some big, long, sobby backstory. Like, he has a backstory.
Yeah.
But it's not the main focus. It's the here and now that's the main focus of his villainy, which I love.
I also liked how, especially in this, in the finale, Bellows at this point is more of a mold. He's just kind of like spreading and infecting and stuff like that, and less of like an actual character. So it's really cool that like he's become like this representation of like something that just destroys everything it touches and corrupts.
One thing I think that is really cool about that
is a physical interpretation of his character in previous seasons. Sorry, go on.
Oh, you're okay. That it's also his whole ideology was to destroy wild magic. Everyone should be categorized. If you're going to use magic, you can pick one and that's it. To like, his body is degrading and falling apart, that he's turning wild. So he's becoming what he's trying to destroy. So he becomes this weird mold-like creature that is just spreading over everything, which is what his fear of wild magic was. So I thought that was a really interesting comparison to Bellows, his physical manifestations and his ideology kind of like competing.
The show is not afraid to be visually frightening. And
It's wonderful. I love that like Ida's arm didn't grow back or anything. Like, she still just doesn't have an arm.
Yep.
I also love that even though they start removing the oh my gosh, what are they called?
The glyphs?
The sigils on their arms to classify like what type of magic they use.
Glyphs.
Okay. I think so. Yeah. Even though they're removing them, like, Ida still lost her arm. So I enjoy when something doesn't correct itself.
Yeah, it's permanent.
You know, it's not like, oh, you know, they came up with some potion and her arm grew back. And it's like, okay, that's not as satisfying as the sacrifice she made as to why she lost her arm in the first place.
Exactly.
You know, she has to live with this now. So I liked that a lot. I liked that we saw King get stronger.
Yeah.
He was able to battle Bellows and hold his ground.
Yep. I was curious about the Collector because he was the one that kind of became the sympathetic villain per se.
Yeah. But I really like how they did it.
Okay.
Because I was worried that he was going to just be like the overpowered character that like no one can destroy, and he just like something weird happens that he loses.
Okay.
But I love that from the very beginning, from the first time we saw the Collector, it was he wanted to play.
Yes.
I want to play. I want to play a game. I'm lonely. I want to play. He's a little kid.
Yes.
He is just a little kid. He's bored. He wants to play games. He wants friends. And he didn't understand that, like, friends aren't your toys.
Right.
Your friends aren't your toys. And he only understood that after Luz dies.
Yeah.
I put quotes around that. I realize you guys can't see my hands. But I did put quotes around dies because she, like, bursts into, like, little orbs of light. And he catches one and he's like, oh, she's just broken. I'll put her back together. And he can't. And they're telling him, like, you don't understand what dying means to mortals. Like, this is that. And I think it clicks for him that, like, I can't break these people if I want to be their friend, that they can die. So he kind of understands mortality at that point, and he understands when Luz saves him what it means to be selfless. And I think it's subtle and it's not said, but you see it visually whenever it's like she dies because of him.
Yeah.
And she doesn't regret it. And her friends aren't mad at him.
Right.
For dying, for her dying for him. So I think that moment makes him understand the dynamic of friendship and what it actually means to be friends and to quote unquote play together.
Yeah.
So, and I think that was the moment where a switch flipped for him, where he's like, oh shit, like I still have everyone as puppets and that giant thing that's falling. Like,
well, so it flips fully because there's this lesson of also like kindness and forgiveness and stuff. And he tries to apply that to Bellows. And Bellows is just like, you goddamn serious?
I know. And that's why Luz jumps in front of him. She's like, no, that's not what we meant. This does not apply here. But then we do see it whenever he uses his magic ribbons or whatever to hold the castle up. And then all of Luz's friends inside see like, no, he's helping. So whenever he falls and they start walking towards him, you see him cringe because like he is just a little kid.
Yes.
He might be all powerful, but he is a child.
Yes.
And then you see Amity like hold her hand out, and that's when he realizes like it's a give and take. Whereas before he was only taking.
Exactly.
Okay. So I think I like how they did his character without getting rid of his power, without like somebody being able to overpower him.
Yeah.
But also keeping him childlike, where
but
he's
also keeping
learning.
Bellows as the big bad.
Yeah.
Which is very important because I was worried. I was just like, uh-oh, Bellows is getting.
Yeah. And again, they've set it up so that the Collector is all powerful. They can't beat him. So it's like, I feel like it would be redundant to make him the bad guy. I feel like a lot of OP characters are like that, where it's like, if they have all the power, they have to be able to be fluid with what side they're on.
Okay.
Or else it just isn't good storytelling in a way.
Nice.
Like, why would, in a video game, I'm starting to, like, think like a video game now.
We've come a long way. That's why the marriage went through. All right.
Yes.
Go on.
But, like, if you have a boss you can't beat, why would you play? You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like, it's different if you have a boss that you can beat if you're leveled up enough, if you have the right equipment, if you have the right weapons.
Right.
But, like, the Collector is an unbeatable boss.
Okay.
He's not, it doesn't matter what type of weapons or armor that you have, you're not going to beat him.
Okay.
And so the fact that they made him kind of fluid to transition into the good side enough that it makes sense.
Yeah.
In the development of all of the characters, I really like that.
Okay.
I also like that they used Luz to talk to him, to be like, listen, friendship is about like giving and kindness and forgiveness and
Patience.
all of these things, because those are all things that she had to learn.
Yes.
And she had to overcome and that she had to go through. So I really like that dynamic of like, I've accomplished this, now I'm going to teach you how to do it. So I like that a lot.
Okay. I thought the finale was going to go a little differently, and I was worried. I'm glad it turned out the way it did.
Part of me wants to see like, your theory.
Oh, no. There was this moment where I thought the Collector was going to use the Owl House as like a Titan, because Bellows, at once he possesses the Titan's heart, I believe.
Yeah, he becomes kind of Godzilla-esque.
And he becomes like this big old kaiju monster that's basically going to destroy all of the Boiling Isles and put an end to it once and for all. And I thought the Collector was going to make like a fucking...
Could you just see like Hootie?
Megazord.
Hootie
exactly.
face punching like everything with his face, because...
That was the weirdest thing. Like, Hootie makes an appearance at the very end, but he doesn't have a single line of dialogue in the whole episode.
Because he's still a puppet.
There is no Hootie. Exactly, but like... It's also like, wow,
and that's
lack of
one
Hootie.
That's one of the things that I'm like, I feel like they were like, hey, this is the last episode, wrap it up. So, because he comes back in the montage. So it's like in the montage is when all of the people are reunited, like everyone finds their parents and their friends, and then you see Hunter being all sad, like, well, fuck, I'm an orphan, I don't have anyone. And then you have the other like leaders come over like,
Darius
hey kid,
yeah.
And then you see him get all excited and start explaining his wolf t-shirt and stuff. So all of that wraps up in a montage.
Okay.
That takes about like, I want to say like 2 minutes.
Yeah,
And
okay.
while it's done well, you can
that.
see all of the emotion in everyone. Because Lily she gets Hootie's box, and he's still a puppet, and then he turns back into Hootie, and he has like the big sparkly anime eyes, and she starts bawling, and because
that's
they're
right.
best friends.
Okay, I remember that. Okay.
So you do have like a nice montage of everyone coming back together. All the little bows are wrapped and tied tight and nice and clean.
So then maybe not Hootie because he was still a puppet, but I was expecting just the Owl House to be like the big fucking Megazord that would take down Emperor Bellows.
Well, because that's the thing. Hootie is what made the Owl House.
Right.
The Owl House.
Yeah.
When he was removed from the house, it's just a house now, which is why it was like ransacked.
He's the collector. The collector could undo the puppet and like make. He's the collector. He has all the power. So I thought that's what they were doing.
I'm glad they didn't, but I think it would be really, really funny to watch.
It would be funny as shit. What they instead did was when Luz dies, she goes to like the space between dimensions and she meets King's actual father.
Yeah, the Titan.
And the King, the Titan, actually gives Luz his blessing to give her Titan powers, I believe.
Yeah. He uses the last of his life force to give her his magic.
Yep.
And then Luz has like this really cool aesthetic of like witchy demon girl. Mm-hmm. And that gives her the ability to go fight Bellows.
Yep. But it's not just Luz one-shotting Bellows. Like they all work together for this final battle where they literally tear him out of the Titan's heart.
Yes. But they needed each other. It wasn't just one. Mm-hmm. Like it took two Titans and the greatest witch. And
even after all that, Bellows has one last trick up his sleeve. He tries to play.
Yeah.
And the acid rain's like, nah, bro.
I love the acid rain. And I also really like that the emotion on Luz's face, because he's like, oh, thank you. I was possessed by this evil. And like, and she's just disappointed in him. Yeah. So the rage is gone, and you just see the disappointment. And then when he starts to like melt because of acid rain and stuff, and she just turns her face away from him. Mm-hmm. So I like that you see the hurt and the disappointment because now she can't use magic. Mm-hmm. Her magic is gone because of him. Yes. But she's not rage or vengeful. She's thankful. Yeah. She's thankful that she had the opportunity that she did. Mm-hmm. So I really like that development because in the beginning she would get so mad when she couldn't do something and all she wanted was magic so badly because she felt outcast and different in her world. Yes. And then she came to this world and she made friends. She made family and she got magic. Mm-hmm. And she felt accepted. Yeah. So even when the magic was ripped away, she still had her friends and she still had the family she made. So, and I think that she was okay with that.
So all of this sounds like positive. Where's the stumble?
I think the stumble is not the fault of the actual animation or cast or anything like that. I think it was just the time. The time, okay. I really wish that there could have been maybe one more episode to wrap things up instead of how quickly it had to go. Okay. Because, again, at the end of the montage, we see the abandoned house that is by Luz's house, and it has, like, it's been decorated and stuff because that is the new portal into the Boiling Isles. Okay. So we have like the back and forth of them being able to go through dimensions again. Mm-hmm. But like years have passed. Yeah. So they're not old, but they're like older. Luz is packing up her room and her mom's like, I can't believe you're going to college. And it's like, what? And then she goes to the Boiling Isles for college where it's like, King is getting stronger so she can use glyphs again because King is a Titan, so she can use Titan magic again. Ida is now like the University of Wild Magic, like dean, I guess, the owner of the ruler of the school to teach everyone.
That's what it looked like to me.
Wild magic has come back, so it's like
because like most of this is shown, not told,
right?
Which is interesting because I also love
done well.
Show don't tell.
Yeah, it is done well. I just think I would have liked to see more of the transition between wild magic and not wild magic. Okay. Because they do have a little moment where it's like not everyone was happy about it. And, so like... And again, that's just me wanting more. I don't know how they would have done it well. Right. But that would be my downside is I feel like it all ended so quickly that it was just...
Yeah. Unfortunately, that was the hand they were dealt. Yeah. Like, we knew this was going to affect. I'm still impressed, like, it didn't harm the show. Yeah. Like, it didn't cause the whole thing to collapse and be like, well, this was ruined. Right. It's still a really damn good show.
Oh, yeah. That's what I mean. Is, like, I liked the ending. I didn't love the ending. because I want more, but I also don't want a spinoff.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like a spinoff just wouldn't be as good.
Wasn't there a line that's like, I see a spinoff of that, and I was like,
yeah, please don't. I love the show melds together old humor and new humor.
Okay.
So, like, humor from our generation, but also humor of the new generation.
Okay.
Yeah, I love this cartoon.
Okay.
Like, I love the characters. I like the development. I really, really enjoyed how they have their casting and the design of their casting. Like, they have an LGBTQ cast, but it's not so in your face.
LGBT characters.
Yeah. But it's not so in your face that that's the only part of their character that they have.
Exactly.
It's just a part of who they
developed.
are. I love that the main characters we see are so incredibly flawed, and so much of the show is them
Luz
dealing.
is not a girl boss, as
Yeah.
we were talking about previously with Peach and other characters.
She's not like a super killer girl boss. She makes mistakes, and she's sad, and she has emotions, and she tries her best, and she messes up, and she tries again. Like, she is such a relatable character, even in a world where, like, she's learning magic and flying on brooms and doing all of these things. Like, she's still so relatable as a person. Of like, oh man, I could see myself making that mistake, but just, she gets over it. She learns from it.
Yeah. I like this more than Harry Potter. I'll say that now.
Oh yeah.
When Harry Potter finally was over, I'm just like, well, all right, that's the end of that. When this was over, I was just like, nice.
Harry Potter is my loosely translated Zelda.
Okay.
I loved it. I was obsessed with it growing up, and then as I got older, it's a part of my childhood and my nostalgia, but I'm not like obsessed with it.
All right.
Kind of how with Zelda for you, like, you loved it, you still love it, but the direction that they went and games from recent years haven't been really your thing. So you can still love the memory and the old
That statement might age poorly because Tears of the Kingdom is around the corner, and it's looking good again.
But then they're also making a Harry Potter TV show that I'm actually kind of really excited about.
Okay, nice.
So we don't know. But that's kind of how I feel. I think this is gonna age well. I just know that, like, this was like the School of Magic done right that I always wanted Hogwarts to be. Hexside did it. Yeah. And I like the characters, and I don't know, I just really enjoyed everything in the show, all the characters. I love the set pieces that they have, like a cartoon weird skeletal island being beautiful in the weirdest, grossest way. Yep. But it is, and I would die for Hootie. Yep. And all of the palismans. Oh, what is Luz's palisman? String Bean? String Bean! I forgot about String Bean until I saw him, and I was like, String Bean! And I was like, oh my god, String Bean. And then at the very end, like, Hunter gets a new palisman because he's carving them. So he's now carving new palismans so that everyone can have it, which is a nice development, because before he was taking everyone's palismans for Bellows to consume to get more magic. He'll never replace Flapjack. I know, but he has a little blue jay now instead of a little cardinal. Okay. And, like, there was this wonderful little scene where there was, like, the headstone and all the flowers growing up around it. I remember that shot, for Flapjack. There was a lot happening in that montage. That some of it stuck, others I was just like, you'd have to tell me, and I'm like, okay. Yeah, I think that whole montage was literally, I wanted to see that as an episode of the montage, like what's happening, because... Okay. Oh my god, that's probably originally what was planned. Why can't I remember her best friend's name? Willow? Willow! Oh my god. Thank you. But, like, Willow and Hunter getting together, and it's adorable. And I just kind of want to see more of, like, them, and nice. How, like, Amity and Luz are doing, you know, because they are together, and they're together for college, and it's just like, okay, well, like, how did they deal with being in two different dimensions, you know? Like, I know there was a lot I wanted to see, but you're happy with what you got? Yeah. Okay. I think for the restrictions they had, they did it well. And I really want to know the name of the Blue Jay talisman, because I really want his name to be Pancake. Because Flapjack and Pancake. I like it. So he'll be Pancake in my heart. He'll be Pancake in your heart. All right, folks, that was our overall final thoughts towards the Owl House and the Owl House ending.
I have a video essay that I'm working on that I'll have within the next month or so. Who knows? Yeah, let us know your thoughts on the Owl House and what other cartoons you'd recommend, since we really enjoyed the Owl House.
I love cartoons, so, tag me in the comments, Mando of Pupcorn, and that way I can see it and I can be like, yeah, I watched that. It was awesome.
All right, puppers. See ya in the next video.
Toodles!